everybody, welcome to Lex Macula Presents in the Spotlight. We've often heard that everyone has a story to tell. And this series is our attempt to find those very stories in the legal profession. We hope to look beyond firms, job titles, colleges, etc. and find what inspires and motivates our favorite lawyers. So come join us and enjoy this episode of In the Spotlight.
Hello everybody, welcome to a new leg of our ongoing series In the Spotlight, brought to you by Lex Macula. Joining us today and giving a kickstart to our new season is Advocate Sanchita Ain, an advocate on record in the Supreme Court and has been practicing for almost a decade in the field of law. Ma'am holds an LLM degree in International Human Rights, a cause which she holds close to her heart and for which she got her distinction from University of Essex. Additionally, she is also a recipient of the Top 100 Lex Falcon Award. In the midst of the ongoing pandemic, Ma'am decided to dive headfirst into a daunting journey and opened her own legal firm, ASV Legal. So, this is where we are today. Thank you so much, Ma'am, for having us today, and we're very excited to host you.
Thanks, I'm equally excited. How are you guys doing today?
Very well.
We're very well. Thank you so much for calling us on the Sunday, and sorry we've occupied your entire office almost, so sorry about that.
It's my pleasure. I mean, you guys are doing an amazing job. I was really impressed to see law students being equipped so much to carry equipments and know how to set it up.
So, Ma'am, having given a short introduction of you to our viewers, what is something you feel that we missed out or something you wish more people knew more about you, right?
I'm a spiritual person. There are many people who meditate these days. You hear youngsters meditating. They do it because they think it's important for their well-being and it will help them in some way. But for me, I do because it brings me closer to divinity. And it's one thing that has stayed with me, faith in a divine force. Recently, my mother was in ICU. She had COVID and she was about to be put on a ventilator, and doctors said, you need to inform your family that she may not survive this, and they all were very sure that she may not. And I went after them and said, wait a second, you need to have faith. That's very important. So then they were like, no, but my patient is going bad and I don't know. And I said, no, nothing will happen to her. And he was like, thank you. It was a conversation that was the other way around. It happened because every cell of my body just knew it so well that nothing will happen. So that faith comes from my practice, from me being a spiritual person. I am also a walker. So I walk a lot. And I enjoy hiking, I enjoy trekking. I have led treks, and there have been celebrities who have participated in my treks, and they have really benefited. It has helped them in whatever art form they are practicing. It has helped them there.
So, traveling is also a big part.
Traveling, definitely, and hiking. Even Mr. J.F. Bharday once led me through the forest of Kushwaha. So this is something that's part of my life and very integral. It just happens, like life just happens to me. So I have interest in various art forms. So it's not something that's very permanent or something that I hold on to, that I just need to do this because this interests me. Whatever comes my way, I enjoy doing.
I think the moment you mentioned hiking and trekking, you were the favorite interview for a lot of people behind the camera.
Oh,
so
really?
Yeah.
Where have you been to?
A lot of places, mainly in Himachal and Uttarakhand.
Right,
A lot deeper in Himachal.
Right. Yes, it's like exploring. Sometimes I just go on solo trek. Sometimes I'm reading, right? Those can be short hikes, but sometimes I just go on solo treks, exploring. I have no idea where I'm going to. I just have a
a backpack in hand and
and the tent and stuff, and then comes a river, like ideal place to sleep.
I think we can kick off with a few more, maybe professional, maybe boring, a lot of people may call them, questions. But I think a good place to start would be why law, and maybe in law specifically why litigation?
Right. So I didn't choose law. In a way, law chose me. I mean, then this is very right. But I'll tell you how. So I wanted to become a doctor. Like, why did I want to become a doctor? Because everyone said you can become a doctor. It was good in cancer. There's no other option left for you. For women, it's doctor. For guys, it's engineering generally, right? Yeah, that's where it starts, right? So that's where it started for me. Okay, she's good, right? From teachers to everyone. It's not like they say, oh, you should or something. They say, oh, when I get old, I'll come to Sanchita. And I was like, oh, so it seemed like there's nothing else, like destiny. This is what my destiny is, that I am becoming a doctor. And it seemed quite doable. My brother was in science stream and I had already read all his books. I had helped him in studies. I had prepared his notes, named a book, and I had studied it right from HC.
Your brother's really lucky.
Everything, yes. I mean, he would say, and I would write when his hands would be tired. Right, but unfortunately what happened was I was soon diagnosed with a chronic neurological disorder. It's called dystonia, which meant I couldn't write properly, which meant I couldn't do my daily activities, but more than that, I had difficulty in concentrating. But then nobody knew what it was, right? So with any rare neurological disorder, it takes almost 5 years on an average for it to be diagnosed. So same happened with me, and I was like, so yeah, whatever. They shifted me in the middle of the session from science stream to humanities. So then I was like, now what? I had never thought of an alternate career option. In fact, for 2 days, I used to wake up in the middle of the night thinking, oh, now I can't become a doctor. Right? And I didn't know what I can become, because at that time, you had to become something, right? Is it all your life is all about becoming something, and it's just a profession through which you can become something, right? And trust me, that journey of being with that chronic neurological disorder changed my perspective about life, and that's why I don't see my profession my priorities changed, the way I look at things changed. Right? So it's just part of my life, my profession is just a part of my life, and therefore I do other things also give me as much contentment, right? Journey became important. I think that's the time when journey became very important for me, because I was really struggling. And I told people that, look, this is what success is. Struggling and still not giving up is what being successful is. But nobody knew how much I was struggling, and still I told doctors that just because I'm pushing something and the resultant force is 0, it doesn't mean force is not being applied. But they all thought I was not trying enough. So I think that's an experience that made me very empathetic as a person. That made me more human. That made me understand what people go through when they fail in life, because I had never tasted failure before. I didn't know what perseverance was all about. Even before I knew what topping in the class was, I was already a topper, right? So I didn't know all this, and now I was struggling even to get 30s. I didn't know if I would be able to appear in my plus 2 exams, right? And then I was like, bit by bit, just like a turtle. Turtle became my role model since then. Bit by bit, like a turtle, I kept crawling. Okay, one answer done, another answer done, huge achievement. Then I had difficulty in remembering, because I was on medications that would make me feel sleepy, drowsy all the time, because you have to understand that brain science hasn't developed that much. So all the medications that you get are just to reduce the brain activity, which means I couldn't concentrate, which means I would be drowsy all the time, which means my memory would not support me the way it was. And my memory was, I had very sharp memory. My concentration, my attention span was so amazing, and now I'm struggling with it. And I would initially feel that when I feel better, I'll start. I never felt better. So then I had to work with it, right? So, and this is a time when Gajni had not released, okay? And I realized, okay, my visual memory is better because I had psychology as a subject and we were doing experiments with audio and visual memory. I realized my visual memory was above average, still above average. So what I did was I had pictorial depictions of all the answers.
Wow.
And I pasted it around on the walls. So if it said something like I had political science, so if it said it is citizens' life around which it is a state around which a citizen's life revolves, it was difficult to even remember that. So I would write state in between, draw a circle, citizen, right? So that will make you
It's like a geo, like a pinpoint, like how flashcards.
right, yes, exactly. That's what I did. I was so happy. I remembered 5 lines and nobody was happy. Right? So I had to learn how to stay self-motivated, how to face failures, and I think those are the life skills that we need more than how much marks we score, etc. So that's, and then I had a few options in my mind, and I had journals, and I was in a kind of phase where I thought, you know what, whatever I may think, it won't happen. I was in that phase. So I may think anything, it won't happen. So that phase happened. Then I was like, okay, fine, I need to do something now. Right? I need to take decisions, I need to apply, etc. after my plus 2. So I was applying and you was thinking of journalism and I was thinking of law. But by then what had happened was I wanted to apply to national universities, but my parents really discouraged me, and I was in a confinement. I was not allowed because I was not well, so I was not allowed to go out, and I was not allowed to apply. It was a friend of my dad who was in Aligarh who had heard that अच्छा बिटिया को क्या करना है, बिटिया को law करना है, so he sent the application form and it came at the last moment. And there's a story to that as well. I didn't know where the ASV officer was. Nobody was supportive because they thought you'd first do a 3-year graduation, somehow get a job for yourself. If you're able to do law after that, maybe you can do after that. But I was like, if I start doing something, I'll pursue it further. I'll do masters in that, I'll do PhD in that. Why would I switch to law then? So I really wanted to do a 5-year course, if at all it was law. And even now you will see I'm not sure, right? Not sure what I can do in life. That's how it can be for you. So I'm sure you hear stories like, I always wanted to do this, or I was determined and therefore it happened. And then students think, oh, but I'm not this person. You don't have to be that person. You can be whoever you are, and yet you can achieve things in life if you keep the consistency. If you so that's what happened. I just knew I'll do something in life, and whatever I do, I'll do it well. I'll lead a dignified life, and that was my fight. My fight was to lead a dignified life, because that was not a dignified life. Being asked to do my autonomy being compromised was not dignified. So I wanted to lead a dignified life, and I could go to any extent. I could do anything for that. So I was good in political science, and therefore I thought I could do well in law as well. At that time, I just thought studying law was interesting for me, because I was interested in studying constitution. I would remember stuff that was equally important by then. And therefore I thought studying law, I didn't know what I'll do after studying law. By then, journey, as I said, had become so important for me more than where I go, because mostly because I didn't know where I reach, because I didn't know where the symptoms would take me. But I still knew that I need to do something that I enjoy doing. And because I don't know what will happen tomorrow, so why not to do something that you enjoy, right? So that's how I came to study law.
I think I certainly have goosebumps after that, because I'm sure a lot of our viewers are going through struggles of their own version, of course. Some very light, some very extreme also for a lot of them. And I'm sure a lot of them would get a lot out of your story and your journey.
Yeah, so adding to what he said, I think for us as students, it's very important to understand that everybody has a struggle story, and it's okay that we've not had it figured out, right?
Right, and you don't even realize. See, when you struggle, you don't realize it's a struggle story.
Yes, exactly.
Right? And even if I wouldn't have put it in words, I wouldn't have realized even now. Now when I look back, I'll be like, wow, right? Because I know, because I've learned how to appreciate my own life, that I can look back and say, wow, otherwise there would be people who have struggled a lot and they would hide their struggle still.
So, pushing off to the next question, I think everybody, all of us here would like to know your journey in reaching the Chambers of Salman Khurshid, sir, and your experience working there in the landmark matters of Pan Aadhaar and Triple Talaq.
Right, so there are two questions in one. So let me first start with my journey. So journey again is so important that I'm so focusing on journey because it's also been different for me. Right? So things have happened to me. I have been open to things. As you would see, I was not sure about doing law, but I was open. And I knew for sure, I had that faith that I had not lost even then. Something good will happen. This is happening for, we all have that philosophy that, it's happening for good. Something good will happen at the end, and then I can connect the dots. So when I was in 4th year of law school, I was doing a lot of work in the campus on gender equality, etc. And I was also pursuing PG diploma in women's studies because I also wanted to understand how things have worked in the past, how women's struggles have shaped the journey. So while doing that, I realized, oh wow, what if we can integrate this? And I also realized the significance of academic base for any practitioner. So I thought, I can do it this way. If I go to teach, this is how I would want to teach. So that made me think I want to join academies. That's when the shift happened. Before that, if you would have asked anybody, everyone knew, oh, Sanchita was litigate, right? It was good in moves, it was doing well. So they all thought, oh, there were, of course, a set of people who thought I would join judiciary, and they wouldn't even ask me because I was good in ACADS, and being good in ACADS in a legal would mean judiciary because they were training you for that. But more than that, there were people who would tell me, judiciary is good for women. I was very tempted to ask, and I would often ask them, compared to what? If you mean litigation, then of course you can't say that. So so then I wanted to join academics, and with that in mind, I went for LLM in International Human Rights Law because I wanted to see how it works there and come back and start teaching, right? I also wanted to, explore. For 2 years, I wanted to work, and then I wanted to do a PhD and come back and stuff. But I was always sure I would come back. But what happened was, from ACADS, I thought, when I came back, when I came back, my condition had deteriorated because of the weather condition there. I think I would have been more good now. Now I know what I had faced then, but it was just 1 year, and it deteriorated, and it just didn't get any better. So when I came back, I was struggling, and I didn't know. Again, I was in such a situation where I didn't know what to do. I somehow managed to complete my dissertation, and I could only work between 15 minutes to 4 hours in a day. I would fall asleep by myself. My ability to take mental stress was so reduced. So this is when I called up a friend, and so a friend as in he was a junior to Mr. Parag Tripathi when he was interning with him. So he said, have you joined somewhere? I said, no. Good, you come. And I knew what he was going to do. So, and this is when I'm also thinking of PhD. I'm very sure I'm going abroad for a PhD. I have a scholarship, I have a supervisor. And he just asked me to come, and I went and said, look, I'm not fit to work. This is exactly my exact words, not fit to work. I can only work between this. And he had tears in his eyes because he had seen me doing internship days. I used to reach office at 9:30, and I was the last person to leave 8:30. I never leave office. So he was like, okay, fine, don't, but why don't you just come and sit, use my office space and do whatever you want to do. I didn't know what he was trying to do. So I started coming and started preparing my proposal. I submitted it, it got accepted. And in the meantime, I was listening to the discussions happening, right, on cases. And I really wanted to jump in and start working on the file. So that's when I started thinking, right, that this is something that will keep me moving.
Yeah.
Every day will be a new day. And at that time, I really needed something of that sort because my condition was such that I couldn't even sit on a chair, it would fall down, and I had difficulty maintaining posture. But again, litigation, you need to go to court. So all of these factors were there. Thankfully, he was extremely accommodating, and so I knew this much that he will be extremely accommodating. I think that mattered, and that I didn't need to use much of the accommodation, but I knew he would be accommodative, and therefore, if I can't go to court, I won't be asked to go to court. Though it didn't, I think the situation didn't arise, but that's how I joined litigation. Thought for a week, so it was always like I would think and then I would decide. But so I thought for a week, and I always made sure that I had my reasons, like very clear reasons for choosing something. And luckily, I always had options, right? So it could have made me feel doubtful, but those options just helped me to choose between what I want to do, and I felt very privileged to that extent that I was offered a job. I never ever had to give a CV to anybody. I never ever had to appear for an interview. When I decided to join him, I decided to join him. He said, "Oh, you be an asset to my chamber." Right? That's how I started working with an AOR. His name is Mr. Chambers of Salman Khurshid. He does a lot of human rights matters, so I thought that was a good start. Then, when Mr. Salman Khurshid started his own practice, I went to meet him, and I realized he would also want me to join him. But I wasn't ready. I had just started practicing. It was like barely 6-7 months, and I was like, no, I just need to learn drafting for a while, and I'm not ready yet to join this industry. Also, I looked around, and this is like very honest stuff I want to share with you. I looked around and I saw, oh gosh, I really need to be self-motivated to work here because nobody is asking you to work, right? So, in order to make the best use of this place, I need to be self-motivated. It's good if you're not being asked to work and then you don't work, right? But that's not what you want to do. Therefore, I need to first groom myself a bit, and then I come here and then I get to further grow, right? So 6 months later, then I went to him, and I thought initially that I still didn't want to leave my old chamber, right? So I was so attached by then to my old chamber. So I was like, you know what, I can do part-time. I don't want to do it full-time. And he was like, whatever for you. And I was like, that's fine, but how much will you pay? I asked him, I think I was the only person to ask him. Again, no need to be talking. I'm asking him, how much will you pay? And because, again, Mr. Parasat had told me, look, you shouldn't say below this. He has to pay this. I said, no, this is too much for part-time. He said, no, that's not true. And part-time because he thought he was not being able to pay me enough. So he said, why don't you check with him if he's willing to have a part-time. So I had this deal with him that I'll come after 4, I'll assist you, and during the day I'll work there. Courts I'll manage, right? And that's to me how I manage. So he was like, whatever. So I said, the salary, he said, fee would be, I didn't distinguish between full-time and part-time. I said, okay, that's fine. How much would it be? So he told me the figure, and my reaction was really, and you know how much he pays well. And I was like, really? He said, yeah, I only asked you to join, you don't join. Okay, wow. And in fact, when he went to meet him, the first thing he told me was, I've been trying to call you I was not able to reach you. There's one person wanting to join, I put her on hold. And this is before I'm saying anything to him. I put her on hold and I was trying to reach you. And I was like, yeah, fine, this is what I've come to speak to you about. So that's how it happened. Long story.
That's definitely one of the most unique job interactions I've heard ever. I don't think anything will top this ever.
I don't think so either.
I think picking up something from your answer of how your experience was like doing your masters at Essex, it's quite unique for people who get into litigation to do a masters, and now it's the trend is that immediately out of law school they work under a senior for a few years and then get into individual practice. So how do you think your experience at Essex changed your journey, or how your experience while you started practicing under Sir and so on, or do you think you were maybe at a disadvantage that you didn't have maybe an extra 2 years?
Right. So firstly, it was 1 year, and secondly, I think everyone has their own journey. Everyone has their own way of doing things, and they should have nobody to tell them that this is the best way or this is how it should be done. But as I said, for me, I did things that I wanted to do. By then, my priorities had changed, and therefore, I really wanted to study international human rights law. And I looked at the curriculum in India, and I was not happy. Trust me. So first year, these things will be taught. This I have already read, and I used to read all sorts of reference books, everything on constitution and on jurisprudence. So I don't need this first year. Right, and I just looked at this syllabus and I was not happy. I thought this was something that I already covered. Yeah, because I like reading and then I read a lot of stuff, so I didn't need that element just for a degree. I really wanted to, more than learning something, I really wanted to get an experience of what the human rights world is like, human rights law world is like. When you look at the curriculum of places elsewhere, which is international, so again, I thought international human rights law is something that I would really want to do. So then how Essex happened was I had no clue where to, right? So I called up Professor Mustafa and like, I want to do LLM in international human rights law. He said, "वो तो सब करते हैं. You go for something with their scope," and he told me some areas of law where you should go to aviation, space, whatever. So I said, okay. So then I told you I think, right? And I'm very objectively I think, and I thought, okay, fine, I will go for this. I looked at the curriculum and then I was like, no, I'm decided. I can't do this. I really want to study human rights. I didn't call it. And again, I was not thinking of scope. I was not thinking, I want to become this. Again, becoming was not an issue. But yes, human rights law was something that I wanted to work with, right? Not looking at these days, people say, oh, it does not have scope. Well, you create scope for yourself, right? If you're good at something, you automatically do something with it and you do great in it. So that's why I was like, no, but I want to study this. He said, okay, fine, then apply to Essex and whatever university he said. So then, and he said Essex was the best. So this is something I didn't know, right? Because in India, you don't talk much about human rights law, etc. And generally, you'll be like Oxford, Cambridge, but again, for human rights, there are other places. So this is like my 9th semester, right? In November, I apply and I get an unconditional offer without my 9th, 10th semester mark sheet, without the references which you done, without IELTS, and this is like unconditional. Yeah. And I thought they just give it to anybody. Right? Within 2 weeks, I'm receiving unconditional offer, and then called him. They said, "I'm receiving an unconditional offer." He said, "Very good. Should I accept it?" Of course. I said, "Okay, great." Now what had happened was, this is like a filmy story, okay? Now as I said, it sounds so filmy. Just before I had applied for it, so I had filled up the form. I thought I'd go through it once and then, submit it. And I clicked on no disability. And this is the time when you think, what come what may in my life, nothing, no factor will change my life anymore. I'll do what I want. Right? I was going on a world kind of, I'm going to explore and I'm going to work. I don't know where, but I will do stuff. And that's why I was going for international freelancer. And then my condition worsened. How I was writing in classroom, and suddenly I realized I could write. Whenever I tried to write straight lines, I was like, gosh, now I need to see a doctor. By the time I got an appointment, it had spread all over and I had strange symptoms. Basically, the symptoms of dystonia now got more pronounced. The doctors, and this is where it finally got diagnosed, right? So, doctors. Yes, the doctor's reaction when he heard the symptoms was, how old are you? That's it. And I laughed. I was like, for the first time, somebody is actually validating what I have been through, right? And it was kind of a relief for me, but then I didn't tell it to anybody. It's like, I have to live with it. I will do whatever I want with it. But I looked very, very sick. Like, I had difficulty in keeping my eyes open. There was this mark here. I was virtually going blind. I could hardly walk. I had to hold the wall, and I was walking at a total space. Great. So now how do I go was the question. So what did I do was, I went back to the form from no disability, to disability, and I wrote, I will describe stuff. That's it. But after that, I didn't know, and I was like, how do I figure it? So this is when I start writing to just one random person on Facebook. Many of you would do, right? So being a student, you do that stuff. So I write to Onil, okay? Onil had just sent me a friend request and I had accepted it because I commented on one of his posts. He perhaps liked it. He sent me a friend request and I accepted. Within 2 days, I was diagnosed. So I don't know why I felt like writing to him. I thought he'd understand. So he responded, and each time I would get scared, I would write to him, how do I go to Essex? I wrote to him. So whenever a thought came, I would write to him. And he would respond whenever he could, and he said, just take every day as it comes. I would just keep reminding myself, I'm taking every day as it comes, I'm not going to be scared. And I just make it happen. I don't know how. So there were times in the morning when I couldn't get up at all. I would think I'm going to die because of this. I was suffering so hard. I was like, how will I do it? How will I even make a tea for myself, a cup of tea, right? And I was like, fine, I'll make a cup of coffee. Black coffee will do, because even putting milk and stuff I won't be able to do. So maybe I'll keep it close to me. Thinking and then, but I was very sure I knew, right? Like I was very, very determined. That's when I would keep. So I learned to talk to myself a lot over the years. Like that's how I perhaps cleared my first exams. Constantly telling myself, okay, fine, nobody gets it, but you know how it is. It's fine, you'll make it, right? Talking to myself in the mirror. All this continued. And then, of course, I stayed back for a year because doctors said that perhaps you can do something about it, so maybe you can go after a year. So I deferred my offer. In the meantime, okay, even before I deferred, I had applied for LLM PhD program at LLO. Again, I couldn't apply for it because for some reason my exams in AMU got postponed. So I could appear for the test in Delhi, otherwise I couldn't have. No preparation, nothing. And I was like wondering in the morning, what if, Palanza was the instructor? Really, he was towering personality, somebody like my mentor, and there was like, what if I write something stupid and he reads it? I'd rather not go. And then I go and write the exam, And the next thing was I created this 5 seats, and the 2 who got selected, and I was one of them. And Faz also actually made sure he kept my answer script in front of me during interview, and I was like, but thankfully there were not many mistakes, just one. And I was like, yeah, I knew this I wrote.
This I knew I have made a mistake.
Yeah, and he was like, why did you make mistake on this? I said, yeah, I knew you'd say this. Because it was a right to commit suicide, and his article was referred to in that a judgment, and then mixed up 2 cases, and he was like, I knew this. Right, so that was the only mistake I had made, right? The rest were all correct. Okay, so then NLU LLM PhD happened. So I thought, forget international human rights law, you get a PhD. I had a feeling I didn't have time at that time. I thought I want to do everything I want to do in life, whatever time I have. I mean, when I say whatever time I have, I know I won't die out of it, but to what extent can I work, etc., was in doubt. And so that's when you realize that, okay, if I really want to do this, right? Otherwise, you have the option of saying, oh, I'm sick, I don't know to do anything in life. And therefore, you get so passionate about things, right? So when we went there, I was being trained to be a teacher. So it was Professor Madhav Menon's idea that you have teachers training courses, but you don't have courses, you don't have training for professors. Right, you do LLM, you do PhD, and you go to teach, you may be good in academics, but what about teaching? So there's nobody to train you for that. So he thought, let me come up with a course. So he may have suggested to Professor Mustafa, both of them would have discussed whatever would have happened. So that's why we were getting all sorts of academic assignments. Once we went to meet Professor Menon, he said you also give them administrative jobs, because that's something teachers also do. So I was teaching, I was doing my LLM, and I was doing the coursework of LLM, I was writing my PhD thesis, and I was also assisting the hostel superintendent. And so on my first day of assisting the hostel superintendent, she was not available, right? So I was like, fine, this I can do. I had a good rapport with students by then. I was like, what will happen? Right? Hostel superintendent. At night, etc., things can happen, and even at that time, even not being assisting to a hostel superintendent, I was doing so much, staying in the same building, that whoever wanted anything would come to me. So I was like, this is fine, this is cool, this is what will happen. And then I realized, pani nahi hai. Yeah, there was audio, and then I was like, how do you fix it? And then I was calling people who was outside, can you please just bring water, because there's no water here. And then I was trying to arrange for water and stuff. So that was my first day of assisting hostel superintendent.
Sounds like quite a task, to be honest.
Ma'am, recently you had filed a PIL which highlighted the digital divide in education.
So the more you look at it, the more you understand it. But the problem is we don't look at it that way. What we are fed is that you need to see them as inspirational poems. Whenever I file a PIL, I'm very sure that there needs to be concrete steps. You need to, highlight in the PIL itself that will say what government needs to do.